Good evening, everybody. Today, we will be talking about a very important issue that has been in the center of the Moroccan public attention. Today's discussion is about the Moroccan education and its effects on the workplace. This webinar will be presented by my fellow teammates. First one, Wael Khomsi, then Mehdi Aitwali, then Mehdi Skah, and Kanzar Houari. Reforming education has always been a crucial priority for every government in the last decade. However, the Moroccan system did not really put much interest in improving its educational system. It is obvious for many that our educational system needs improvement. If you have any further questions about this webinar and concerning this discussion, feel free to ask them at the end of the webinar. So my first question will go to Mehdi. What might be the cultural elements that impact professionalism and the Moroccan workplace, in your opinion?
So hello everyone, my name is Mehdi Skah. So I'll be talking about these cultural elements, as my classmate Ata said. So you understand my line of reasoning. I'll be briefly talking about the different points I'm going to cover. So first, we're going to talk about the fact that professionalism is a term that has emerged in the Western professional world. After that, I'll talk about Moroccan culture in general and its main differences with this Western culture that I mentioned. Thirdly, we will cover cultural and religious practices in Morocco and how they impact the workplace. We'll then move on and talk about gender issues and how it relates to the present theme. And last but not least, I'll talk about the Moroccan bureaucracy and the influence of the French model. So before we talk about culture, we have to keep in mind that culture is a term that is very complicated to define. However, Moroccan culture is something that all Moroccans recognize and identify to. And we can draw differences between this Moroccan culture and the Western/European culture. So first of all, the professional workplace, professional ethics and norms are based on this Western model. So as you all might know, the professional model has emerged after the Industrial Revolution, as well as the intellectual revolutions of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. So in Europe and in North America in general, there are very specific guidelines, norms, and values that people are supposed to follow. And several aspects differ from what we're used to see in Morocco. For example, one first aspect is the fact that the professional workplace in Europe and North America is based on liberal democratic values. For instance, religion has no place in the workplace. Even sexual orientation, gender, all of this doesn't matter. But you can see in Morocco the impact of these on a daily basis. Secondly, before we go further into these cultural practices, we have to understand what Moroccan culture is. Everyone has his own definition of Moroccan culture, but you find several examples of behavior that is very specific to the Moroccan culture within the workplace. For example, in Morocco, we are known to be very friendly towards another, and there's a lot of social proximity, even on the workplace. People talk about daily issues and get involved in other people's issues without any problem. This, of course, leads to a certain decrease in professionalism, because professionalism entails the fact that you're only going to talk about what is related to the company or the place where you're working. Whereas it's very common in Morocco to see people working and talking about things that are not relevant with the issue at hand. Thirdly, we're going to talk about different cultural practices in Morocco that can impact the Moroccan workplace. For example, as I've stated earlier, the impact of religion. For example, Ramadan. Ramadan is a holy month during which people are supposed to fast and thus have a decrease in productivity and energy during that month. That's something that is not found in the professional workplace in other parts of the world, which means that the Moroccan workplace has to adapt to these cultural practices. Another practice that is very commonly known is the practice of the siesta. People in the Mediterranean region tend to wanna sleep after eating lunch. So that is very common in Morocco that people at 12, 1 p.m. go home to eat lunch, which is very different from what you can find in the North American model, where very often people eat at work. So this leads to people wasting time going to their home and coming back, which leads to a decrease in productivity. And when you have this problem on the macro level and concerning the whole population, you see that it can impact the Moroccan workplace and create productivity issues. Fourthly, I'm going to talk about gender issues. So gender is something that is very concerning nowadays all over the world, and although there has been progress these past decades and during the 20th century, there are still many issues. In the Moroccan case, according to a study conducted by the Forum Azhara for the Moroccan women, 78% of working Moroccan women expressed frustration with tiring working conditions. So by working conditions, they of course mean the conditions deployed by the company, but as well as their interactions with other employees within the workplace. In Morocco, as I stated earlier, we have specific values and cultural perspectives on the role of men and women, for example. There are still a lot of people in Morocco who believe that women are supposed, to raise the children, cook at home, and so on, which leads many women to have to live a double life, which means working at home and working on their at work. So, fifth and final aspect, I'm going to talk about the Moroccan bureaucracy. So, as you might know, Morocco has been under a French protectorate from during the first half of the 20th century. A lot of Morocco's administration is based on the French model, and this European type of model has been present in Europe for almost 2 or 3 centuries, whereas in Morocco, it's still fairly recent and takes time to be assimilated by the population. The French bureaucracy is often joked about in Morocco and the administration in general because people know that it's not efficient at all. And the fact that our Moroccan administration is based on another one and still hasn't been fully implemented leads to a lack of efficiency, productivity, and professionalism. I'm now done with the cultural elements, and I'll leave the floor to my classmates.
Thank you, Mehdi. Thank you for your insights about the cultural aspects affecting our education. Now we are moving on to another major aspect, which is the impact that languages have on our Moroccan workplace. Wael will give us more insights about this subject.
Thank you, Atta, for the time. First of all, thank you for having me here, and I would like to emphasize more on what my classmate has just said. I think that culture is the milestone of education and workplace. It is a big influence, and to talk about language is also a huge aspect of culture. As you said, Morocco is a pretty unique has a pretty unique culture. We also have a very diverse linguistic knowledge in this country. Now, in our constitution, Morocco's official languages are Arabic and Tamazight, but we also talk French and Spanish in the north, uh, as long as many other dialects in this country. Now, the use of languages in education have always been a subject of discuss in Morocco. We have seen for example, the example of the textbook that used Darija in their material. Um, it's always been, I'm sorry, it has always been a big question of which language and whether should we use certain languages in our education. And I think it's very important because now we can see it from different perspectives. But in order to link it to the workplace, I think that one major thing that we should talk about is cultural consciousness and knowing a difference or a big number or being multilingual is a very good tool to be culturally conscious in the workplace. Now, in Morocco, we learn Arabic from the first grade and French, but when we talk about English, we start to learn English until the ninth grade. And according to many psychologists, people are more efficient in learning skills, and especially languages, during early ages. And so I think it's very important to look at the use of languages in our educational system because it is a very important tool in the workplace and in the job market. Now I will leave the floor to my classmate to further discuss the matter.
Thank you, Wael, for this elaboration. The next major point we will be discussing is the constraints that face the Moroccan educational system. I will leave the floor to Mehdi Aitwali to elaborate more on this subject.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. So first of all, I'd like to say that the Moroccan educational system has been inspired in the period of French protectorate in Morocco. At the time, the French educational system was a system in which the students were learning by heart the notions of the program given. Nowadays, many countries have developed themselves in their educational system and have understood that the requirements for students after having their high school degree are principally skills that are essential in the workplace, such as critical thinking. The Moroccan educational system does not provide to students a professional side in their education, nor provide them, let's say, mandatory experiences that should be done in the workplace. Furthermore, the Moroccan educational system have a lack in the communication side, whether it is between the professor and students or between the professors and the Ministry of Education. Students aren't always free to express their concerns about their education and are not heard. According to statistics, Morocco is ranked 103rd in the overall Prosperity Index rankings. Since the Prosperity Index began in 2007, Morocco has moved down the rankings table by 8 places, which shows us again the weakness of Morocco in the sector of education, which is an essential sector that could promote students to the workplace in a better way without the use of primitive methods such as learning by heart. The Moroccan educational system should provide a sense of professionalism and a better transparency between the system and the students, and also the formation into communication skills and professional behavior in the workplace. Moreover, in the workplace, the knowledge that students have acquired during their time in school can be helpful, but it isn't the most important resource that students should develop. It would be more important to focus on professional aspects such as communication, discipline, value of work, integrity, mutual respect, rather than learning by heart. Most employees in Morocco have weaknesses in their workplace skills. A good educational system that develops critical thinking skills could strengthen those skills that each employee needs to improve. A development program in the Moroccan educational system could bring all employees to a higher level so they all have similar skills and knowledge. Thank you. I'll leave the floor to my classmate.
Thank you, Mehdi. The last point will be on the effects of the Moroccan education on the chances an individual could benefit from in the job market. Kinza will help us understand more the situation.
Thank you, Ata. So basically, another problematic aspect of this issue is that the Moroccan job market does not really provide a great variety of opportunities for the Moroccan graduates. For example, people who are graduated with a Bachelor of Engineering, for example, do not always get the chance to find in their specialized job and end up working in a totally different type of work. Therefore, it is fair to say that the Moroccan job market does not efficiently take advantage of these opportunities. Another problematic in the Moroccan job market is that the employees usually ask for a work experience more, which puts students freshly graduated in a situation where they have to work other jobs in order to gather the experience required for the job. For this reason, this lack of opportunities among the Moroccan society can be explained by the general situation of the job market. Following some Moroccan statistic of the unemployment situation in the country, the 2018 unemployment rate in the Morocco indicates that 10% of the active Moroccan populations suffer from unemployment. This is why it is common for many Moroccans, especially newly graduated students, to encounter very high job requirements. And as it is well known, Morocco's economy is mainly based on agriculture. However, recent years have shown that there is a phenomenon of rural exodus. People who live in the countryside usually leave their homes and move to the city, leaving behind their agriculture business, which forces Morocco to import most of its commodities from foreign countries. Also, when it comes to agriculture, another major issue is still present in the Moroccan workplace, which is the lack of formation and training of people working in the primary sector. And another thing that can lead us to another major issue in this situation, which is the intellectual immigration of the elite that couldn't find suitable opportunities in their home country, which led and will lead future generations to leave country looking for better opportunities elsewhere. Thank you.
I'm sorry, my mic was off. I think we had some technical issues. You couldn't see Kenza on the picture. So to conclude, as it was discussed by my fellow teammates, it is crucial to know that Moroccan educational system is facing many major setbacks, discussed earlier by my teammates, that caused the system to be considered as inefficient compared to other foreign educational systems. The Moroccan government should seriously consider taking specific measures in order to get over the challenges it is facing by forming and educated individuals within schools and universities on professional norms and behavior that would allow them to be recognized in the job market. Businesses and organizations also have a major responsibility to adapt their employees to the current workplace challenges. Thank you for your assistance and interactions. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to participate. So let me check the questions first to see if there are any questions. There is one question here by Hamza saying that what do you think of the new military service and its impact on the Moroccan youth? So Kenza will elaborate more on this question.
So, first of all, I would like to thank you, Hamza, for interacting with us. So personally, I think that the new implementation of obligatory military service is somehow beneficial for the Moroccan youth, especially those who do not exercise any kind of work. They will have a chance to be part of the military service and gain a new experience rather than staying with no job. So yeah, I believe it is somehow a solution for the high unemployment rate in Morocco.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? There is another question by Leila saying that do you think the Moroccan government should continue the process of Arabization? Okay,
I'd like to answer if I can.
okay.
So first of all, thank you, Leila, for your question. As you might know, the process of Arabization has started right after the independence of Morocco in '56. So politicians and Hassan II during the '70s and '80s pushed for more Arabization within Morocco and emphasizing on our Moroccan on our Arab heritage and our Arab history. However, the past has shown us that this was probably a mistake. As my classmate Wael mentioned earlier, we're very much confused with languages in Morocco, and for the future, for our future relations with countries such as China or the US, or even with the European Union, I do not believe personally that Arabization is the solution. So, of course, we have to keep our history and our inheritance and our heritage, our Arab heritage. But I believe that the Moroccan government should push for more English during the middle school and even early years, so that people can come on the workplace mastering English. So that's it. Thank you for the question.
Okay, Mehdi, thank you. Let me check if there are any other questions. There is a question by Hala saying, how long will it take for these issues to be solved? Who would like to answer this question?
I can answer. For the how long it will take, of course, these are all issues related to the youth, to culture, to education, and I don't think it's something that we can solve in 5 years or 10 years. Just like I mentioned earlier, gender issues, for example, this is going to take perhaps a generation. So it's all the responsibility of families, of the government, of schools to further educate. And I believe that although this will take time, there is some urgency, and the government has to implement policies that will help further professional work ethics and values within Morocco for in the next decade.
Well, I don't think there are any other questions here. So thank you guys for your participation. Thank you for listening to us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.